All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we are joined by the winning jockey and trainer from the Breeders Cup Distaff, Javier Castellano and Todd Pletcher. And this is Todd's second Breeders Cup Distaff win to go with the Shadow in 2004. Congrats to you both. Javier, let's start with you and talk about the trip that you got. Much better than last time at Saratoga. Just tell us about the trip.
I have a beautiful trip in the race. The weight handicap at the race, we spot each other, time me before the race. I see a lot of speed in the race. I like to be stuck in good position in the race, especially in the first turn. You know, a lot of horses, a big field, and it worked out perfect. You know, I broke well out of the gate. I put him full position. I keep track where is it goes all the way in the race in the backside. I think the key was in the first turn when I put the horse right behind the where it goes and put it outside. And after that, have all control of the race. I think it was the key to win the race.
And then there was you did come out a little bit in the stretch. Can you just tell us what happened there in the final eighth of the
like
mile?
anything out here, you know, Breeders' Cup is a lot of big crowd, a lot of people. The screen board, you know, is so bright. And all the emotion, I think that feeling just kind of show a little bit, just to drift a little bit, but you always just try to keep my horse straight. I think the other horse is logging in too, and he right on top of my horse. I think my goal was to keep straight the horse and move forward.
And Todd, now I'd like to hear from you just about how this race unfolded differently today from in the personal ensign.
Well, to me, the real key was, you know, the decision not to run back after the personal ensign. You know, having the benefit of knowing this filly for the third year now that we've trained her at 2, 3, and now 4, she tends to run some of her best races fresh. And, you know, I felt confident that she would train well enough that we could have her ready to run a big race, and felt like if we ran in the Spinster or the Beldame or one of those races in between that she might not fire her A shot. And she's a very easy filly to read. She, when she's on her game, she trains exceptionally well, and I felt really confident after a breeze here on Sunday that she was coming into the race as well as she could.
Yeah, and even before that in New York, right? I mean, she touted herself in the last few.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she'd had the benefit of being here since September 30th, so you know, she'd had a full month here, and you know, when they decided to have the Breeders' Cup here at Keeneland, we felt like that we'd change strategies a little bit and try to get most of the horses here and let them acclimate for the month, and you know, at least for today, it paid off.
We talked to Kiki about the acquisition of this filly, and she said she talked to you, and can you just tell us a little bit from your perspective what you told them a year ago when they showed some interest? She was already in your barn, of course, but what did you tell them then?
Yeah, I mean, you know, she had won the coaching club in the Alabama as a 3-year-old. I was actually a little surprised that a lot of people kind of overlooked her at the Fasig-Tipton sale last year. So when she didn't meet reserve, Mike Rapoli struck up a deal with them, and you know, as happy as I am for the Cortalises, and you know, feel a little bit bad for Mike because you know, he's a great client, and you know, I'm sure it's not easy for him to watch her win at the same time, but he was well compensated, and you know, so he'll have some more Breeders' Cup for himself, I'm sure.
And can you just give us some quick impressions of your other two in the race? Carolina ran big to get third.
Yeah, actually, I thought she ran huge. She was making a big move, kind of splitting horses down the backside, and when a seam kind of opened up on the rail, you know, I thought they might battle it out. And Joel, talking to him afterwards, said that he thought she was just a little bit intimidated when things got a little tight in there and lost her momentum a bit. But I thought it was a huge effort from her, and you know, she's an awfully good filly as well. Got lucky. I got to see the replay again. I know that Irad was trying to make up some ground, and from the 12 post, he was kind of hung out wide all the way around there, and she ran just a bit evenly down the stretch.
Very good. Sherry, do we have any questions from the press boxes? We are getting a question from the press box. We'll get that in 1 second. Sherry.
The question is the decision to bring the horses here early, and why was that? Why that change in strategy?
Well, you know, the past few years it's been at Santa Anita, and New York to Santa Anita is a tough trip, not only for the horses but for me as a trainer to be back and forth. So, you know, I felt like that our results the last few years haven't been as good as we were hoping for, and so because it was at Keeneland, it's an easier commute. We felt like we had confidence that the track would drain well if we had a wet fall, and that you know, it might be an advantage to be here and train over the track. And it worked out well today. Who's to say they wouldn't have run the same if they shipped in from New York? But feel good about the decision right now.
And Todd, we weren't able to catch up with you earlier about Liam's map, so could you just give us some impressions of that incredible effort?
It was an amazing effort. I mean, I think, you know, everyone sort of knew coming in that he's a horse that has a lot of early speed, and he's brilliant at times, and you know, sort of his strength has been he runs horses off their feet. You know, he's the type of horse, he's so fast that if you try to go with him, it's suicidal, and if you let him go, you got no chance of catching up. So today, for him to overcome some adversity and still win as impressively as I did, I mean, now he's kind of put the whole package together, you know, speed and brilliance and courage and, you know, everything you're hoping for in a good one.
Very good. Jerry.
Are your 2 wins today an omen for tomorrow?
You know, I felt like today we had some of our best chances, and people have been kind of asking me, you know, who are your favorite chances, who is your best chances? I said the fillies in the distaff are training well. Liam's map is certainly going to be our shortest price, and I think Rachel's Valentina, you know, is doing exceptionally well, and she's a filly that we've always liked a lot. Tomorrow, the couple fillies in the sprint, that's a very tough race, and they're both doing very well. It'll be a tough race to win, and you know, Red Rifle and Imshawish, the turf races look as good as I've seen. The depth of the European form is really, really strong. So, but anytime you come into these events and the horses are running well, and race day 1 early on the card, you know, it makes you feel good at least about your preparation, and hopefully you've done your part and put them in the best position to perform as well as they can.
Any last questions for the Breeders' Cup Distaff winners? All right, gentlemen, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time.